Kevin Magnussen was the king of chaos in Miami, as his carefree team-based driving entertained us and earned Haas more vital championship points. With K-Mag playing defense and the Hulk on offense, Haas have created a point-scoring machine, showing the rest of the backmarkers how to make the most of a bad situation. The Miami sprint race strategy of using K-Mag to hold off Hamilton as Hulkenberg went on to score points was incredible entertainment, but as exciting as Kevin's do-or-die defensive maneuvers were, there was a price to pay. Today I'm going to check out how K-Mag's brilliant team play might cost him far more than a few penalty points, so don't go anywhere. The Miami Grand Prix was filled with excitement before the race had even begun. With big upgrades for Ferrari and McLaren, everyone knew that the battle could be brought to Red Bull. To actually see Lando Norris atop the podium, though, was something completely different. Then there was Adrian Newey's announcement that he'd prefer to spend his summer sat by the pool with a cold beer rather than riding shotgun in the Red Bull motorhome, listening to Christian Horner sing duets of the Spice Girls back catalogue with Jerry. I can't imagine why, though. However, once the racing began on Saturday, it was K-Mag who was the star of the show. Scandinavian F1 drivers are famous for their zero F's given attitude to racing. I still go back and watch Kimi Räikkönen interview highlights when I'm feeling down. Never forget that Kevin told his current teammate to "go suck my balls, mate," in response to Nico's comments on his driving after the 2017 Hungarian Grand Prix. After the opening 6 races of this season, Kevin could demand even more if he wanted. Kevin's defensive driving has earned Nico plenty of points already, but in Miami, the man who should be known as F1's Minister of Defense took it to another level. After Lewis Hamilton's Turn 1 dive bomb took 2 cars out the race and ruined another's, both of the Haases made the most of the carnage, getting ahead of Hamilton into 7th and 8th on track. Haas may be a surprise package this season, making a big step forward under new boss Io Komatsu, but they still aren't on the same level as Mercedes. Hamilton in the W15 has far more performance available to him than those driving the VF24, so for a driver of his caliber, the 2 Haases should have been easy prey for him. Well, K-Mag took offense at everyone who thought that, and managed to utilize his car's top speed advantage to infuriate Hamilton over the course of the 19-lap race. The offset in performance advantage at different points on the track created an incredible to and fro, which saw Hamilton desperately trying everything he could to get past Kevin. At times, the defense from Magnussen came close to stepping over the line. Cutting the chicane at turn 15 on lap 8 would eventually cost him a 10-second time penalty, but importantly kept Hamilton behind him, keeping Nico safe in 7th. Then on lap 11, his late braking into turn 11 kept Hamilton behind him again, but the wheel-to-wheel knock that Lewis received as a warning for having the audacity to try and pass him was pretty close. 3 laps later, at the same corner, both drivers overshot the track trying to outbrake each other, went 4 wheels over the white line, and Magnussen was penalised for gaining an advantage. Vitally though, Lewis lost a place to the opportunistic Tsunoda, who had an incredible weekend again. Hamilton would eventually get the move done, but it was far too little too late from Lewis, who finished 7 seconds behind 7th place Hulkenberg on track, but thanks to a 10-second time penalty of his own, dropped out of the points. For Hulkenberg, it was probably the easiest 2 points of his life, as he drove practice laps all Saturday afternoon thanks to his teammates' defensive display. The Drivers' Championship table might read 6 points for the Hulk and 1 for K-Mag, but that doesn't tell the full story. Cast your minds back to Jeddah, the Grand Prix in which Haas really started to flex their muscles for their new boss. Magnussen played the team game for all he was worth that Sunday, as he took up the role of protector to Hulkenberg and bollard to Yuki Tsunoda. Stopping the RB driver from passing, even if it meant knowingly incurring a penalty for leaving the track to stay ahead, Magnussen also slowed his pace to give Hulkenberg the chance to build up a gap. Tsunoda decried it as unfair, but as Magnussen put it, it was good teamwork. The stewards didn't throw the book at Magnussen for his negative tactics, although James Vowles says that's not how F1 should be racing and called for a review. He was one of several voicing that concern, but there was no review. All the stewards did was adhere to the rulebook, and for Magnussen, that meant a 10-second time penalty for the race and no penalty points, as the rules state that leaving the track mandates a 10-second penalty, but 0 penalty points. With Miami and Jeddah together, K-Mag has helped Nico earn half of his points so far this season. Williams might not have been happy in Jeddah, just as Hamilton wasn't in Miami, but for the entertainment factor, K-Mag's driving in both races was excellent. Like Russell Crowe in Gladiator, Kevin is posing the most important question to viewers: are we not entertained? And to be fair to him, at the end of the day, we watch F1 to be entertained. Haas are playing a new form of team game in F1, and while on-the-edge defensive driving to help a teammate is incredibly exciting, if it goes too far, the FIA have to cut it out. In their eyes, in Miami, with Hamilton the person punished by the Danish defender, Kevin went too far. This time around, the stewards went hard for the penalty points, awarding him 3, 1 for each trip off track. Taking into account mitigating or aggravating circumstances, read their statement, the authority of the stewards to increase the points assessed is intended to be used only in exceptional circumstances. Aggravating was definitely what K-Mag did to Hamilton, and exceptional is probably what his teammate would describe him as in the debrief. Kevin admitted afterwards that that's not how he wants to race, but that it's his job to help the team score points. All the penalties were well deserved, the Dane told Sky F1. No doubt about it, but I had to play the game again. I was in a very good position behind Nico there. At the beginning of the race, I gained a lot of positions, was up in P8 and protecting well from Lewis because I had DRS from Nico and had good pace. But then Nico cut the chicane and I lost the DRS on lap 6 in an incident that was not investigated. Why Nico didn't drop back to help his teammate would definitely have been a topic of lively discussion in the team's debrief, but during the race, Kevin didn't care. He knew what he had to do, and in keeping Hamilton at bay, helped Nico earn the team 2 precious points. He was also fortunate to avoid a charge of unsportsmanlike behaviour, the stewards quashing that on grounds that, for such a serious offence, there must be clear evidence of an intention to behave in a manner that can be said to be unsportsmanlike. For Magnussen, there wasn't intent. He was just doing what the rulebook stated he could, albeit with the caveat that such actions come with a penalty. According to the stewards, he thought he was entitled to race with car 44 in the manner that he did. He was also willing to accept what he considered to be standard penalties for doing that, and they conceded that it was not uncommon for a driver to seek to assist his teammate. To the FIA's credit, they've left the door open for Haas or anyone else to repeat the tactics again, but with the very strong message that if they are to repeat it, they need to do so in a legal manner. After all, F1 is a team game. The Drivers' Championship might get more attention, but the Constructors' table is the one that pays the big bucks. If Haas can hold on to 7th, then the team won't care how many penalties they get, because there'll be a big bonus all round at the end of season party. However, Kevin's driving has created a big problem for him. With his contract up at the end of the season, Kevin needs to perform well this year, and while those 3 points his defensive driving has earned the team are impressive, the race ban that is almost definitely coming his way this year will not be. The combative all-or-nothing Dane has racked up an eye-watering 10 licence penalty points in just 6 events this season, meaning he needs to complete the rest of 2024 without accruing 2 more, or he'll get an automatic 1-race suspension. It's almost harder to get 1 point than 2, and considering K-Mag's driving style, when he does inevitably get those final 2 points that earn him a race ban, the first ever under the current system, Haas would replace him with its reserve driver and Ferrari protégé Ollie Bearman, who looks destined to join this team on a full-time basis sooner or later. Bearman's presence was an obvious threat to Magnussen when the young Britain's expanded role was announced, although the pressure for Magnussen to save his seat looked to be reduced slightly in light of Nico Hulkenberg's now confirmed move to Sauber next season. Naturally, that increases Kevin's chances, team principal Io Komatsu said going into the Miami weekend, but we need somebody who can be a reference for the team. With so many drivers available to hire this year, Kevin's place is far from guaranteed, and while he can produce some good drives and is clearly an exceptional team player, can he be called a reference point for the team? As good as his highs are, his lows are very low, and that lack of consistency creates problems when you have a young driver who can't give the team feedback. They need to hone upgrades and dial in setups. With a rookie in one seat, your other driver has to do the heavy lifting in free practice, helping perfect the setup for the weekend. On one of his good weekends, Magnussen can definitely do that, no doubt. But on a bad weekend, well, who knows? His erratic style won't provide a steady level for Behrman to be assessed against, and that might be what loses him his seat next season. What did you think of K-Mag's driving in Miami? Were you entertained, or was it a disgrace to F1? Let me know your opinion in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.